responsibility.
Finishing this fight.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Lore Council. This is Cade, and I am joined with Keith.
Hey, y'all.
And today we are taking our first foray into DC, I believe. I don't think we have gone over anything DC related, really.
Yeah, I guess not.
Yeah, as the title of this video would indicate, we are going over the latest Batman reboot, The Batman.
The Batman.
The Batman, The Batman. This was written and directed by Matt Reeves, and Peter Craig also wrote this. And obviously it stars Robert Pattinson and the titular title of The Batman.
Yeah, kind of, yeah, I guess the Batman thing kind of signifies it moving towards a more, like, comic sort of, like, thing. Like, you know, they're doing more of a comic thing with this one.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. It's a little less, I guess, like, air quotes, like...
Or maybe it more refers to kind of, like, the era it's in, you know?
That could be.
Because when Batman's just referred to as the Batman, it's usually in like more of a, like, you know, he's still kind of like an unknown vigilante sort of situation.
Yeah. Well, it's his second year of being Batman, so.
Yeah, and this movie kind of just sort of just relies on you knowing, you know, being aware of Batman and his backstory and, you know, Rogues Gallery sort of, at least a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely appreciated it. I'm glad we didn't see any flashbacks to Crime Alley and Thomas and Martha Wayne getting shot. Like, obviously it's, like, alluded to when they talk about it, but I'm glad it's not, like, the focal point of, like, the first, like, 5 minutes of this movie or anything.
Yeah, and I was pretty happy that after, like, what felt like 10,000 years of opening trailers before the movie, finally the movie starts and you just got like a DC logo and then just immediately to the title, The Batman, and then into the movie. So it's very, very fast.
Yeah, I really liked it. Overall, this is my new favorite Batman movie. Previously, that was Batman 89, and this has definitely eclipsed it, in my opinion.
I'm kind of on the same page. My favorite Batman was, you know, Batman Forever and like The Dark Knight, and I gotta say this one is just really it gets a lot of brownie points just because of the look of the movie and just like nailing like the tone, this dark tone very well.
Yeah, and I think one thing I appreciate about it is it has a dark tone, but it's not like grim dark, like, I don't know, kind of the Nolan films always just felt a little like grim dark, like, oh, the city just always sucks and blah blah blah, and then versus, you know, more lighthearted tones from, like, well, basically every Batman movie like before then. There are some really good comedic moments in this, this movie, though.
The Dark Knight is actually a pretty bright movie. Just the way it's shot, which is kind of interesting because Christopher Nolan just didn't want to do shadows. I guess he was just sick of it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in this movie, it's like the grittiness of Batman Begins, but like turned up to like 11.
Yeah, yeah. I just think it's like it's basically like the perfect Batman movie, and it doesn't really. I don't know. It doesn't. It was long, but it didn't overstay its welcome. Obviously, this is like a 3-hour movie. But it did not feel overlong to me. Besides the fact that I was messaging Keith about this, I forgot my wallet in my back pocket, which I typically never ever do. Typically, I wear it in like my coat pocket or like another pocket somewhere else, so it's not under my bum because my ass just started to get sore. So I noticed that through like the last third of the movie. So yeah, other than that, it was an amazing experience. Much better than my No Way Home experience, which had a super loud, raucous audience. Everyone in this movie super respectful. I mean, obviously, like it wasn't like, you know,
Definitely not like also a Marvel kind of action movie, you know.
Yeah, but I could still see how
Kinda
people
goes
would
without
like
saying.
how people would still like, oh my god, oh let's point and clap and ooh and ah over a movie. But none of that happened. I think one person's phone went off, but that's whatever.
Yeah, it's definitely, you know, indicative of like the style of this movie. But I definitely really liked it. I was feeling the length of it by the end just because I had to go to the restroom like really bad and I didn't want to get up and miss the movie.
Oh, sure.
I didn't drink anything throughout the film, by the way. So, yeah.
Gotcha.
3 hours, no breaks. But,
Yeah,
I wouldn't call it perfect, but I definitely enjoyed it and think it's, like, really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, to hop right into it. So it opens with this... Well, it opens with... it does not open with Batman. I was expecting it to. It kind of subverts your expectations there. Like, you expect Batman to, like, walk out of the shadows there, but instead, we get the mayor of Gotham City, Don Mitchell Jr., and he is murdered, like, really, like, brutally by the Riddler. And he basically gets, like, his head bonked in and his thumb cut off.
Yeah, well, before that, there's this shot of, like, you know, Riddler, like, looking at their house through his binoculars.
Oh, yeah.
And this kind of, I don't know, I maybe I was, like, saying it wrong, but I got kind of confused, or maybe that was the intention, where you see the little kid in, like a samurai outfit or something. He's got a sword, but it didn't look like that from, like, the window. It looked like a dude with, like, a sword, and then
Yeah, I
the
think...
dad comes in and he, like, attacks him, and it looks like he's, like, attacking him, and he, like, falls down, but then I think they bring out, like, a little pumpkin carrying thing, and you're like, oh, it's Halloween. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting there, but then, yeah, we get, like, basically a very, you know, thriller-like sequence where, Riddler's, like, stalking the mayor in his house. He's, like, right there in the shadows. It's really creepy, very, very captivating. Just really good stuff.
Yeah, he kills him and then he tapes him up and he ends up cutting off his thumb. And from here, after this is kind of like our cool little intro. And from here we get our brooding open narration by Bruce Wayne.
Yep. Classic, you could almost see the little comic blurbs above the city,
yeah,
you know, as the sequence is happening.
Yeah, it was really effective, set to the tune of Something in the Way by Nirvana, which was a song I wasn't super familiar with, obviously, but now everybody is. This is probably going to be like their number one stream song on Spotify now. Really, really fit the tone. Apparently,
kind of the theme song of the movie now.
Yeah, definitely. Apparently, Robert Pattinson, while he was filming Batman, had a Batman playlist full of, like, brooding songs from, like, the 80s and 90s, so...
Huh.
But yeah, it worked really, really well, and then we get kind of this...
the opening sequence kind of reminds me of, like, Rorschach, sort of, like, you know, his opening little monologue in, you know, in Watchmen, you know, the streets are extended gutters. The gutters are full of blood, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, he's just talking like, the city's, it sucks and everything's bad. And,
yeah. And it works super, super well. It's very, very effective, sets the tone of the movie, and we get our first looks at this version of Gotham City, which is, like, every disgusting picture you've ever seen of, like, San Francisco, New York City, whatever the biggest city of your state is, it's all of those, like, rolled into one. The city is disgusting. Like, I think later on in the movie, there are literally just, like, burnt out cars, like, just next to a building. There's trash everywhere. It's dark. It's gross. It's disgusting. The fact anyone lives there is a surprise.
Yeah, it looks like they went to all just the filthiest parts of Chicago to film this. Yeah, lots of that, like, just, it looks like downtown, like, Chicago or something, or, you know, like the Chicago with the trains going by all the time, and then but there's all this great like Gothic architecture they use too.
Yeah, it's
Nice
really
mix
cool
of
that
both.
it's integrated into there.
Definitely felt it's very, I don't know, very like a very realized Gotham City, and definitely feels very distinct from other versions of Gotham we've seen. Even though there's at this point there have been so many
Oh
different
yeah.
like interpretations of Batman. Like it's at least over 10. It's like a dozen.
Oh yeah, yeah. This Gotham City is definitely like Chicago meets New York City. I only say that because of all the bridges. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. But
Um,
there's just like a little bit of extra creepiness and grunginess thrown in.
oh yeah, for sure. And then we get our kind of first little intro thing of Batman. Well, we get a nice little subway ride. Okay, and apologies, technical errors. Anyways, we were speaking of the subway/train ride that the Mr. Gentleman is on. Our kind of point of view for
Oh
the
yeah, sure, sure.
yeah.
And yeah, we're following this this version of Bruce Wayne / Batman likes to kind of do some some civilian style on the ground footwork where he's basically just he's just dressed up like a regular dude, kind of walking around. Again, it kind of reminds me of like how Rorschach would disguise himself as just like a bum in order to like walk around the city unnoticed. And then if he's needed in a flash, he can change. Batman. I mean,
Yeah.
pretty much, because he just carries a backpack around that's got his whole suit in there, I guess.
Yeah, really good scene.
So we just see a bunch of like street punks. They're all, and it's Halloween. People dressed up, and they're all wearing like they got skull makeup on. It looks really cool, and they're just watching videos of them beating other people up. So
Yeah,
obvious dickheads.
yeah, scum of the earth, real ne'er do wells, and kind of our point of view guy on the train, just some Joe schmo. He gets off the train. It's all like dark and dingy, and it's rainy and broody.
And they decide to follow him just because he gives like the main guy like a look like that he's kind of scared, and they're just like, dude, we'll beat up this guy and take all his shit.
Yeah, we'll get his drip.
So yeah, they basically just follow him into this abandoned train station because depression, and
Yeah, and they are about to beat him up, and then we get our first of a couple parts. Well, no, because we get the little monologue of the bat signal and how like regular criminals are literally just like scared of it because they don't know where Batman is because he's hiding in the shadows.
that happened before this.
It's like as the guy is like about to get beat up.
Oh yeah, there's like a neat little like voiceover sequence where you've seen all these criminals kind of like getting freaked out. They see the bat signal up in the sky. They're like, "Oh no, I'm gonna go home, or I'm gonna not do crime now," or something. They're kind of just scared of the shadows. Maybe a little heavy-handed,
No,
but
you
get the point.
I like it. Like we literally show them like looking at like there's one guy who's like at like the I don't know, it looks like City Hall or something with like some big marble columns and they're like spray painting on it. And then like one dude like looks over at the shadows and he's like, "Oh god." And then even like the new guy and like this gang of people who are about to beat up Train Guy are like they're not noticing, but then the new guy, he notices and he's like, "Oh geez." And then out of the shadows steps our first look at the Batman.
And we get a cool little scene where all you hear is just Batman's footsteps.
Yeah.
As he's coming out of the shadows, and they're very slow, and it just sounds really heavy and like. And then he just finally steps out, like just total badass looking, just looking real cool, man.
Yeah, what did you think of the new Batsuit?
I think it's great. I think it looks really good. The cowl just looks really cool. Like the way, pretty much his whole like jaw is like exposed, and like the neck has like there's like a nape on the back of it, so he can turn his head. He doesn't look like a total retard. He has to like turn his whole body every time he wants to look around.
Yeah, no, I thought it was.
The armor looks cool. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool too. This is my favorite Batman cowl. My only critique: I wish the ears were like a tiny bit longer. I like my Batman cowls to have longer ears, but that's just me.
I think they're good.
Yeah,
yeah, we've had long Batman ears for years.
Yeah, I'm not saying like the comically long ones that are in like some comics, just like 10% longer, and they'd be like perfect for me. But yeah, the cowl looks cool. He can like turn his head. Yeah,
he looks super just like buff in the costume.
Yeah, which
and scary.
Yeah, I like that he's not like outrageously like yolked. Like he's not like Captain America yolked, but like he's definitely like, peak human conditioning.
Sure.
Yeah. And we get the whole thing of that we kind of saw in the trailer where he absolutely just yolks this one dude, like the first dude to like run at him. That dude's definitely gonna have like a $2,000 hospital
trailers, bill. The moments in the movie are kind of a little spoiled, but it's still good.
Yeah, the trailers did a good job of not giving away anything like super important plot wise. Besides, there was like the Riddler, who was basically like the Zodiac killer.
But it did kind of show most of the coolest action sequences in the movie, though.
I think they missed out on at least a couple, like especially towards the end.
Well, like the main finale, but
yeah,
Batmobile stuff, and then
but this opening fight scene was really cool. They all come at him, and like the really cool thing is that like he takes.
It kind of looks like the Batman Arkham games for a second. He's got like 10 thugs around him. He's like whoa.
Yeah,
come at me, bro.
Yeah,
beating him up.
Yeah, it looked cool, and I like the fact that he takes a couple hits, but since his suit is not, it's obviously not like a t-shirt or anything, like he just kind of like shrugs it off, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, and then one of the guys actually just shoots him like in the chest with the revolver, and he's like,
psych, you thought. But yeah, it's really, really good. The one new guy, he's like scared to death and like runs off.
Yeah, I definitely prefer the like kind of almost bulletproof suit to the rubber 1989 suit where he gets shot in the chest. He's whoa, looks like he slipped on a banana peel.
Yeah, yeah.
Is he dead?
But yeah.
Oh, and another thing they kind of avoided, I guess, was goofy. Not at least I don't know. It seemed like there was always goofy shots of Batman running in the other movies, and when he's running with the cape, it just looks kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
But in this movie, he's always just like doing that slow, pimp walk kind of.
Yeah. And we get the little thing where one of the goons asks him, "Oh, who are you?" And "I am vengeance."
Oh yeah. Get ready to hear that some more.
Yeah.
You could make a drinking game out of how many times they say vengeance in this movie.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a thing that like DC superheroes do. For some reason, they don't like saying their superheroes' names like in the movies. Like Batman, I don't think he refers to himself as Batman. And well, I was going to say Commissioner Gordon, but he's not Commissioner yet. But Detective Gordon, like he always calls him, what does he say? Like man, like hey man. Like I don't know. I just don't like that nobody refers to him as Batman. Like I don't know why.
Yeah, maybe they're
DC's
trying to kind of avoid that sort of comic book ridiculousness.
Yeah, but like
Batman.
Yeah, but it's just like his thing. Like he's the Batman. Yeah. Like we accept.
I feel like he said it like once in the movie. He said the Batman, and I was like, he said it. He said the thing.
Yeah, and I'm not saying like at every single turn, like just if like. Detective Gordon should be able to call him Batman,
but pretty much by the end of the movie, it feels like everyone has called him Vengeance, like, jokingly, and I'm like, is that something he says a lot that they would call him that?
Yeah,
or something, or
it becomes
say that to like every like criminal he beats up or something.
Yeah, maybe it becomes thematically relevant, kind of like later on.
Oh yeah, I
think it works,
then the fact
but
that kind of gets turned into a joke sort of undercuts that a bit.
Yeah,
I feel like.
But yeah, so from here, Batman is brought to the crime scene of the mayor's murder, and he uses his detective work, and we get the commissioner. I don't remember his name, but he's like he kind of browbeats Detective Gordon, being like, "Oh, hey, you're letting a vigilante like enter a crime scene," and
Yeah, again, it's the scene from the trailers. Batman just walking into this like crime scene with all these cops and stuff. He looks super cool. Everything's all, you know, grungy and stuff. It just looks like, Seven basically.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I really liked it. The Riddler had left a message for Batman, and I like it. It's like a riddle. Like, what does a liar do after he's dead? He lies still. And then
Yeah, pretty good writing there with the riddles.
yeah, I think the riddles were good. They made you think, not too hard, and they weren't too obvious. So I think it worked really, really well.
Yeah, and all the stuff with Riddler was pretty. You get some pretty creepy moments in there. It's very unsettling sometimes.
Yeah.
And again, the movie is almost like a thriller,
Yeah, it's like a
like
noir
half a thriller.
Noir thriller.
Yeah, sure. Like a detective story.
Yeah, and we get
Mystery,
to
yep.
we get to see Batman being a detective, which is something we don't really see a lot in the movies. He's more action hero than detective, typically, and so I really liked this change of pace.
Yeah, and he's very brooding, year two Batman, and
Very brooding is an understatement.
oh yeah, we get to see, when do we see the Bat Cave? When does that happen?
A little later, I think.
Because he beats up the dudes, and then what happens?
And then no, he must go back.
This is a
after
really
this.
long movie.
It is,
Like,
yeah,
there's
because
a
he
lot.
goes back and he takes out his cool contact lens.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh yeah,
So I
because
wanna talk about that.
he goes
I like
back
that,
because the Riddler leaves like the cipher for everyone, and Batman goes back to the Batcave so he can see it because his cool contact lens recorded everything. So he goes back.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, he has like a thick ass digital contact lens that looks super painful to put in, and I can't even wear like regular contacts.
Yeah,
so
same actually.
it just looks terrifying to me. But yeah, I just wanted to comment on when he does go back to the Batcave. What is basically the Batcave? We get to hear the theme song again. The Nirvana song,
Yeah,
and there's bats and stuff in the cave. Pretty cool.
yeah,
Oh, and then when he takes off his biker helmet, since he was just in the Batman costume, we see that he has like black like eyeshadow makeup all around his eyes,
yep,
like raccoon makeup.
yeah,
And that's because it's so when he wears the mask, it looks all dark and stuff, and like finally we get to have some continuity with that, because in all the previous Batman movies,
yeah. Whenever he takes off the cowl, yeah,
it's like the eyeshadow disappears.
yep,
Even though when you see him in the mask, he has to wear eyeshadow in order to not, have like his skin peeking out and stuff.
yeah.
So
And it
it's
serves
nice realism there.
serves to make him look even more brooding. And this is
Also,
our
extra broody, yeah.
yeah, this is our first glimpse at Andy Serkis Alfred, who I thought was like doing a bang up job in this movie.
Yeah, he did pretty good. He was he was in the movie a little bit there.
And I kind of liked the almost like strained relationship that they had. Like, it's not like the perfect relationship that like typically Bruce Wayne and Alfred have, like in a lot of the comics and in the movies. Like Bruce,
Yeah, he's not exactly like the computer guy in the chair yet helping Batman out,
yeah, and they
He kind of wants him to start like just going back to being like, normal Bruce Wayne, doing like Bruce Wayne stuff.
Yeah. And they eventually deduce the Riddler's cipher, which is drive, and that leads Batman and Detective Gordon to go to the Mayor Mitchell's cars. And,
they go to a parking garage, yeah.
Yeah, they go to, well, it's like the mayor's like private parking garage full of like super nice like luxury cars, and yeah, they check the center console of one of them, and there's the mayor's thumb is in there because thumb drive. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this movie maybe has like 3 jokes throughout its entire runtime, and I felt like none of them really landed.
I liked the thumb drive. It was clever.
It's kind of funny, but
Yeah.
definitely didn't get any laughs in the theater. But
Yeah.
yeah, throughout most of the movie, it's just very dark and grim, very serious. There's like a couple little jokes sprinkled out throughout. There's one later that works, but we'll get there.
Yeah. So we get
What
we
happens
get
after your thumb drive?
well, they see what's on the thumb drive, and they see that the mayor was with another woman because he's a rich, corrupt guy. So of course he's having an affair with his wife, or he's having an affair not with his wife, but he's having an affair.
Yeah, they see him on. Yeah, there's like a still picture of like a camera, or like a camera recording, or security camera recording. I mean.
Yeah,
And they're like, whoa, and then who's that in the background? Oh, it's Penguin.
Yeah, the Penguin. And so so Batman then heads to the Iceberg Lounge, which, haha, Penguin, Iceberg, nice. And, then he gets in and kind of fights his way in, and then the Penguin shows up, and he's like...
Well, first he literally just knocks at the front door.
Oh, yeah, he knocks and,
you know
asks.
who I am.
Yeah. Oh, that's a quick thing I think we can touch on. I like that Robert Pattinson doesn't do the Christian Bale Batman voice. I'm Batman.
Well, he basically does do the voice, but just way toned back.
He kind of just lowers his well, I was going to say his speaking voice, but obviously he's British. But he just lowers the register of his voice. Like he goes from speaking like this to speaking like this, essentially.
It's like a grittier. He's doing a really good gritty Batman voice, I think.
Yeah, it's not over the top. I'm surprised that Bale, after all the jokes and everything about the Batman voice, stuck.
Where is she?
I'm Batman.
Where is she?
Yeah, but it works really well, and I like it. It's intimidating, but not corny. But yeah, he then...
No, yeah, it works.
He then fights
some twins.
Yeah, he beats him some twins, fights his way in. One of them, I swear, I don't know if it was just me and I was on crack or something, but one of them looked like Matt Damon. Must have been just me.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
So, technically, wouldn't they both look like Matt Damon? Since
No, I don't know. I don't know. I thought one of them looked like Matt Damon, and I was like, "Oh, is this another Matt Damon uncredited cameo?" But it wasn't. Obviously, I don't know why. I was.
But yeah, Batman. He fights his way through a club. It's really cool.
Yeah, the music.
They got some good music going.
And then it's red. Red is kind of red and black and gray are kind of the colors of this movie.
Yeah, definitely. You get lots of that throughout this.
Yeah, and there's a big techno rave going on, and then Batman's fighting people. And then the Penguin kind of shows up and he's like, "Hey, yo, don't fight my people. I'll talk to you." And the Penguin, I think, looks honestly, he looks great. He looks disgusting, but he looks great.
Yeah, you pretty much can't tell that it's Colin Farrell under there.
Literally,
it's amazing.
Yeah, no,
and he does a pretty good voice. He does a really good job. I like this version of Penguin.
Yeah, I think this is, as much as I love the Danny DeVito Penguin. The Danny DeVito Penguin does not exist within the realms of reality.
Yeah, Danny DeVito Penguin is nightmare fuel.
Yeah, it's good for what it is in the setting of those movies. But if you would have tried to do that in this movie, it would not have worked. So I like that.
Yeah,
he's just an ugly dude with I think he has some scars on the side of his face.
No, we need just super long nosed Danny DeVito in a onesie.
Yeah,
eating fish with his flipper hands and stuff.
Yeah, but yeah, Colin Farrell does a great job. You can't even tell it's him. I think he looks vaguely like Robert De Niro, kind of. I don't know. Again, that was probably just
he looks like a normal guy, but you could also get he kind of looks like a penguin in a suit.
Well, and I think the way that I think because he has a scar right under his nose, and the way they always have and he has a big hook nose, but I think the scar right underneath it, or the little thing right under his nose, makes it look like a super, super long nose. I thought, and then he has the scarring on his face. So yeah, he's a disgusting human being, but you could probably find someone like that in your town. It doesn't exist in the realm of fiction only.
And he's a perfect penguin because he's just a gangster.
Yes,
basically he talks like an Italian gangster. He's just a gangster guy. It's great.
Yeah, and so Batman essentially he gives him the business. He's like, "Oh, who is this woman with the mayor?" and blah blah blah. And he's like, "I don't know. I'm a mobster. I'm not going to tell you anything." And then
Yeah, and then we get introduced to Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah, as Selena Kyle, and she notices. Batman notices that she notices the woman in the picture, and so then he stalks her like a creepy guy. But it's not creepy because
really good in this movie.
Oh yeah.
We get a scene where basically a scene where Batman is watching her undressing, but then intrigue, she gets dressed into her Catwoman outfit.
Yeah, and does a couple of pretty like sick like gymnastics moves, like to get out of her window and stuff. And then she breaks back into the mayor's like apartment, and she's gonna attempt to steal her friend's passport back because she's from, I don't remember where she's from, but like Russia or something. She has like that Eastern European accent. Her roommate does. Oh. But then Batman shows up and they have a cool little fight. Like as cool as Batman's like fighting style is in this, like Catwoman's is like, it's super cool. Like it's super fluid. It's very like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It just looks really, really cool.
Yeah, all the fights in this movie are really well done. There's really no cuts at all. You get to see all the action.
Yeah, the stunt people, I hope they got paid because it looks great. And then yeah, we find out that we've essentially find out like who the woman is. Like it's Annika and it's Selena's roommate, and so Batman's like, okay, I'm gonna put this gigantic contact lens in your eye, and you're gonna go on a little scouting trip for me because I can't get in there.
Right, yeah. Batman has to have Selena Kyle go into the 44 Below, which is the fake club inside the Iceberg Lounge.
Well, it's the real club.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, because the Iceberg Lounge is like the club, and then the 44 Lounge is the club within a club.
Yeah, and if it sounds like we're going through events pretty rapidly, it's because this movie just like does not stop for anything. It really, you never feel like there's a moment where the movie's like kind of you like, okay, this is kind of just filling up time or whatever. No, the movie really just goes from like point to point to point. It's just boom, boom, boom. Does not waste a lot of time. Yeah,
and it works super well. Selena, she does the thing where she goes in, she finds like the DA, the district attorney, and he's like talking about some stuff that like tips Batman off, and there was a rat in one of the cases. Oh god, they kept saying it. Sal Maroni case. There was like a mole that they heard everything from, but then one of the people down there mentions Annika, Selena's roommate, and so she goes off. She kind of goes rogue, and then Batman's like, "No, you need to ask about the."
I feel like if we keep going, like summarizing the plot, it is a lot.
Oh yeah, but yeah, so yeah, basically, Selena goes rogue. She's like, I'm not going to do this. Like, I need to find out what happened to my friend. And then as she's leaving, the DA comes out and he's like, hey, I'm really socially awkward, but would you like a ride back to your house? And she's like, I like it, because she just ignores him, and she's just like, taxi!
Yep.
And gets in, and then the DA gets into his car, and oh my god, it's the Riddler, and he's everywhere, man. And he abducts abducts the DA. And yeah, this is then from here
the creepy serial killer thing.
Oh yeah, he does he doesn't kill him. I assumed he was going to kill him, but then he didn't. And then we get from here, Batman goes back to like Wayne Manor, and we get a little bit more of Bruce as Bruce, and a little bit. And because they're having like a memorial for the mayor, and he shows up as Bruce Wayne. He has a conversation with Carmine Falcone. Yeah, right outside there. He's like it's one of those things, just like the mob in the real world and like the 20th century. Like everybody knows he's a criminal, but like nobody can like touch him. Basically, the Batman mob stuff that's pretty much been like, been the basic Batman stuff for like a really long time now. Yeah. But so we kind of get the point from
Falcone that Bruce Wayne's a bit of a recluse. He does not go out very much. He's not like a party boy yet, it seems.
Yeah, which I kind of like. It's a little bit different than like the Bale Batman and the other Batmans, where like he's he's a socialite and he's out like amongst the people.
Yeah, this is still like a younger Bruce Wayne who's still kind of finding his own way, and he's still kind of broody and stuff.
Yeah, with an awful haircut.
It's fine.
I didn't. I thought it was a bad haircut. Anyways, that's
Robert Pattinson. He just gives a great performance as both.
He
Bruce
does,
Wayne and Batman.
Oh, and it's great. I almost think his posture changes a little bit too when he is Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
he looks a little bit smaller. Like his shoulders are a little more squared in, and
he slumps his shoulders a little bit.
Yeah. It really good.
Batman, he's like just totally like shoulders back, just like buff and flexing and stuff.
Yeah, and I wonder how tall Robert Pattinson is. He's 6'1", so yeah, he's not like outrageously tall, but like when he's Bruce Wayne, he looks like diminutive, and then when he's Batman, like if someone told me like, oh yeah, he's 6'6", I'd be like, oh yeah, that's right. And yeah,
probably wearing boots that have like an inch or an
inch
and a half.
True. And the perspective of the camera and everything, and they probably put him with like people that are smaller than him. But yeah, we get the little memorial. Like the mayoral candidate is like trying to like hassle Bruce because she's like, oh hey, like your parents like started like this fund thing and you should help me out and blah blah blah. And Bruce is just like hyper fixated on the son of the mayor who he noticed earlier because they're in like a very similar position. And from here we get I don't remember what like tips everyone off that something's wrong. Like it's not like gunshots
they
or
just start hearing like screaming.
Oh yeah, like screaming and stuff, and then
eventually a car just bursts through the freaking church, and I was kind of just wondering, like, dang, like how long, from how far away and how long was this car like driving and like out of control before it finally crashed through the front doors of the church?
Yeah, because that's what I was a little unsure on. Like, was the anyways, the DA is in there. And he has a bomb strapped to his neck.
A bomb collar on his head.
Yeah, and then he's like got the phone taped to his hand. Yeah, and it's like there's a to Batman. That's the thing. At every single like crime scene or whatever, there's a to Batman message from the Riddler.
Well, to the Batman,
or to the Batman. And Bruce eventually leaves because obviously he's a civilian, and then he shows up as Batman and walks in from the shadows as is his MO.
Everyone's like, whoa, what are you doing?
Yeah, I really love the scene. It's like unintentionally funny, where like the little bomb squad robot like rolls up to the DA and just like bonks him in the face.
Right. It's like flash of the light and stuff. And then we get this whole little sequence where Riddler is on the phone and he's like having the DA do basically just riddles.
Riddles, yeah.
He's answering riddles
for his life.
It's kind of it's taking like the Riddler, who's kind of just a ridiculous sort of dumb villain, who's it's like he asks riddles and stuff, and making him like sinister and creepy, but still at the same time kind of just ridiculous, really. But
yeah, because the first riddle is
this like sort of just very I don't know, it's very grim kind of. Not, I don't know, sardonic tone, maybe?
Yeah. But yeah, the Riddler's on the phone with Batman, and the first riddle is, like, it can be blind, it can be cruel, it can be et cetera, and it's justice, and the second one is, essentially, he just straight up asks him, he's like, oh, well, how much money does it take for you to, like, get bribed? And he's like, 10,000
because the answer to the riddle is, like, bribes or something, so yeah, he's admitting that.
And then the last one is... who is the rat that you're like defending? And he's like, the DA's like, no, I'm not going to tell you. Like if this doesn't kill me, then like if I rat everyone out, then like they'll kill me and my wife and like I have family who are involved and blah blah blah. And so he is so scared of the people that he's like keeping the secret for that he essentially he just lets himself get blown up.
Yeah, and he just kind of disappears in a big ball of flame. Batman, who's standing right next to him, isn't hurt at all.
He's like
kind of hurt.
Yeah, he's like blown back.
Blown away.
Yeah. And then he all the cops kind of show up, and then
they should just had like, I don't know. They should just had like a severed hand, just like slap him in the face or something.
Oof, ouch. But yeah, and then from here, is this where Batman gets like brought in?
Yeah. It just shows him landing on his ass, and then like
he gets knocked
5
out.
seconds later, he's in like a they bring him to the police station. He's on like a table or something. Like I guess they just hadn't unmasked him by then.
Yeah, well, presumably like
nobody tried.
Yeah, presumably Gordon was like, no, don't do that. Blah blah blah. Because
they would have gotten like electrocuted.
Yeah. Something. And then we get this really really cool scene. I think this is where it happens, but like they're like, oh my god, like is there something on his eye? And then one person's like, oh my god, who cares? Like I just want to unmask him. And Batman like wakes up and he just like starts like trying to get out of there.
Oh, they almost noticed his like video contact lens for a second.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and then Batman kind of gets out of there, and then Gordon's like, hey yo, hey, I know this guy, like let me talk with him. And they have this cool little like exchange, like where Gordon like slips him a key, and he's like, okay, like go down the hall and like take a left or whatever. And really,
Batman has to punch him in order to escape the police station.
Yep, he escapes, gets out of there.
Doesn't he do like a wingsuit thing? Like he gets out like this like
wingsuit?
Wingsuit?
Yeah, he like gets to the top of like the police station, and then he's gonna jump, and I was super hyped because I love when Batman glides like with his cape.
Yeah, I thought he was about to do a whole thing where he's gonna have this badass like cape come out, and it's gonna look like a bat and stuff.
Yeah, and then he has like a glider suit essentially.
Wingsuit, and it makes him look like a flying squirrel.
Yeah. But I guess it's kind of cool. Like it makes like real sense. Like obviously, like I think it would have been cool to have like the bat cape, like in the Arkham games where like he glides with that. But that's whatever.
No, this is like still starting out, more realistic Batman. So
yeah, he goes, and then when he deploys his
crashes like right into the ground.
He deploys his parachute like underneath like a overpass. It catches it, and he just like wangs on top of a bus, which does not stop. Yeah. It was a very unconcerned bus driver. And then he kind of goes back and meets with Detective Gordon. He's got his cape back.
Sure.
Yeah, and then they kind of want to they want to figure out like who's the rat, and that because that's what we need. And what would happen next?
Yeah, upon like just kind of thinking back on all this stuff, I'm kind of like, knowing what comes later, it just seems kind of like pointless. All the mystery and stuff.
Yeah, essentially, we kind of get through. We get some more shenanigans. Eventually, they track down. The Penguin, and Selina's there. She discovers her roommate's corpse, and Batman and Gordon are there to like try and get the Riddler because Alfred has just figured out the cipher, and it's like El Rata something. And it translates to like the rat with wings, and so they're trying
to figure out who the rat with wings is.
And they're like, "Oh,
Penguin."
It's Penguin, yeah. And so they find the Penguin. They're about to do a drug deal, so that makes them discover that the Sal Maroni operation never actually ended, and they find out that there are a bunch of like police officers involved. And then Batman catches Selina there trying to steal the money, and it kind of they get exposed, and. Yeah, they have a fight, and then the Penguin starts to like flee, but then we get the
calls Batman vengeance a couple times, like, "Hey, vengeance!"
Yeah, which it's cool. I don't know when the Penguin does it because he does it in like a mocking kind of way.
No, yeah, that's definitely the better ones, but
and then we
get the chase Batmobile sequence.
Yeah, this is probably, and I've said this about other stuff. This is my favorite Batmobile. I absolutely hated the Christian Bale Batman or the
like the Tumbler.
I hate it. It's so like over the top, like goofy, gigantic, like tank thing. This one is over the top. It essentially looks like it looks like a muscle car that has been modified, It's
Yeah,
like
a
all
tricked out
black.
muscle car. Yeah.
It has like a nitrous boosted like engine in the back. It looks really cool. It's obviously like bulletproof. It looks cool. This is my favorite Batmobile. It's again, it looks like something Batman would have, but it's not over the top. It doesn't have like the giant bat fins that like the Tim Burton ones did. And it's not a giant tank like the last couple movies have been of it. I think it works really, really well. And then we get a cool chase. The chase here is amazing, really, really fun to watch. And we finally get this scene where like the Penguin causes like a basically like a truck that was like I'm assuming like carrying gasoline or something. He like runs into it and it causes it to like it causes a giant action movie explosion. But then like Batman does some GTA levels of driving. And there was
Drives right through the fireball.
Yeah, drives right through the fireball after he hits like a sick jump off of like a ramp.
Crashes right into the Penguin's car and then just makes it like flip over 1,000,000 times. It's great.
Oh yeah, it's great. And then we get one of the coolest shots in the movie where like Penguin is upside down in his car and he watches Batman like walk at him, and they kept the camera upside down the whole time. From like the Penguin's point of view, awesome shot with like all the fire in the background. Batman is like this imposing figure walking towards him. Oh, it's great.
Yeah, definitely the visuals of this movie really won me over for sure.
Yeah, works super awesome. And then they, him and Gordon like, they interrogate the Penguin and they find out he's not the rat, and then he
explains to them because they kept saying it was El Rata, where in fact it should be La Rata or something like that.
Yeah, in Spanish, things that end in O are typically like El Hermano, which is the brother, end in O because they're masculine, and they use El, which is the, and then feminine uses La, so rata would be the feminine form of rat. So there's your Spanish lesson for the day.
Mm-hmm.
And then
that leads them Batman to I don't remember what the explanation was, but apparently that leads to URL.
Yeah, it's because it says you are El Rata blah blah blah. So then when he says it out loud, it's you are El, and then they type in Rata, rat with wings, in Spanish. And then that they have like a little chat with the Riddler, and it's really, really cool. I really liked it. And then we get the
Riddler in this movie is pretty creepy.
Yeah, he is like an unhinged like psycho, and it works really, really, really well. And then they follow this clue to an orphanage where there's a bunch of like, oh god, I don't remember what the drug is called, but essentially like a bunch of like drug addicts. Drop heads, yeah.
Yeah, drops is like the drug of choice in this for some reason.
Yeah.
This movie does kind of build its own little,
universe.
Mythos in it. Yeah, you got the, people do drops, which is just like eye drops drugs, I guess, and they call them drop heads.
Yeah, and so
it basically just looks like a heroin den, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like if you've ever seen like any kind of crime movie where there's like a drug house, it looks like it. And then they find this big thing, and it's got like this video of Thomas Wayne playing, I believe, and on the walls it's like the sins of the father, and this wigs Batman out because he's like, oh god, like they're gonna try and like do something to me, but I'm not home, and Alfred is, and so we get this super tense scene because first of all, I thought that the sins of the father meant he was gonna go after like the mayor's son.
Yeah, I kind of thought
like
that
when I first saw that,
I was like, no, it's Thomas Wayne. So
yeah. And then, we get that, like, Batman is driving, like, back to...
Yeah, he's calling the house.
Yeah, he's calling the house. And then we get, like, the scenes of Alfred, like, there's a letter, and it's, like, to Bruce Wayne, for Bruce Wayne's eyes only. But for some reason, Alfred still opens it. Kind of rude. That's technically illegal. Federal offense. Yeah. Alfred is going to jail. But I guess he's his butler, so I'm sure there's got to be some kind of loophole there.
Yeah, and then he gets the letter which says inside to the Bruce Wayne, it says to the Batman, and that's when I was like, oh, so Riddler knows
that Bruce Wayne is Batman.
Batman is?
Yeah, but the Batman thing, it's in a fireproof thing.
Yeah.
So you like kind of later on, like you put together that like Riddler never knew.
When
they lead you to
of course,
think
Alfred gets blown up in the face with a bomb that was in the thing.
Yeah, well, he kind of like he runs away, like he gets some distance between him and the bomb.
And at this point in the movie, you could sort of give the benefit of the doubt that maybe Riddler doesn't know that Bruce Wayne is Batman because he always leaves it to the Batman letter at every crime thing he does. Right?
Yeah, yep. And so that works really well. I thought they killed off Alfred, but then we get the cliche.
Oh, yeah, me too. Yeah. I was like, this is going really
dark.
Huh?
I really wouldn't have liked that because I really like Andy Serkis as Alfred. I think he does a really good job. But yeah, then we get the cliche thing where Alfred's in the hospital and they're like, well, we just have to hope that he stabilizes. And it's like, oh, okay, he's gonna come back.
He's fine.
Yeah.
He's totally fine, yeah.
Yeah. And then we get a big thing where the Riddler leaks that Thomas Wayne, who was running for mayor, hired Falcone to kill a journalist who was going to reveal stuff about like Martha Wayne's history of mental illnesses. She was admitted to asylums and stuff. And then
because their parents were crazy.
Yeah, well, they were the Arkhams.
Oh, she was in Arkham, Martha?
Yeah.
They said that? I thought she was some other family.
No, she was in Arkham.
Huh.
But yeah, this.
Oh wow.
This wigs out Bruce, who and Falcone says it when he meets him, but he's like, "Oh, you thought your father was like a Boy Scout." But
well, think again.
Yeah, and Falcone twists the story so that way it all sounds like it was Thomas Wayne's fault, which it was. Like Thomas Wayne is not off the hook here. And then we get the scene where
he basically he went to a mobster for help to get a journalist to shut up.
Yeah.
What did you think the mobster was gonna do?
Well, it's because
he's either gonna break the dude's legs or kill him.
Yeah, which is not gonna help out your case either way. But yeah, then we get the scene where Alfred wakes up and Bruce is like immediately just on the offensive, like, no, oh hey Alfred,
why didn't you tell me?
Yeah, and it works really well. Alfred was like, well, you already lost your parents. Like, I couldn't bear to tell you, like, this shameful secret that your father had. And then...
Yeah, it's a different issue that hasn't been, like, brought up before in a Batman movie, this kind of thing where, Thomas Wayne did kind of, associate with criminals like Carmine Falcone.
Yeah, and essentially at the end of it, we find out that Thomas Wayne intended to turn in Falcone for the murder, and then Alfred says that, well, we can't be sure, but Falcone probably had your parents killed to prevent this.
Oh, so they kind of... Yeah, because Falcone tried to make it seem like Maroni had
killed his parents. Yeah.
But so I feel like they didn't confirm that it was Falcone that had...
No, because Alfred literally says, well, we can't be sure who killed your parents. Like, or who...
Right. Could have just been a random gunman. And I do like that there's some ambiguity there.
Yeah, because that's the whole thing with Gotham. Like, it's crime-riddled. Like, and because Alfred also says it, like, it could have just been some, like, guy who wanted to rob him, but, like, got nervous and, like, pulled the trigger. And so it works really well. There's no, like, Joker killed him, Joe Chill's not showing up or anything.
Right,
so.
yeah.
But yeah, works really well. And then from here, kind of trucking along. Story didn't take any breaks, and neither do we. But yeah, from here, we get kind of... This enters, like, the final act, essentially. And...
Right, yeah, Selina is angry and wants to go kill Carmine, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. We find out
for
that...
a couple reasons.
Yeah, she tells Batman that, like, Falcone's her father and everything, and then they find out because Selina finds her cell phone that Annika got strangled to death by Falcone because she found out that Falcone was, like, the rat, and then she kills him, and then Selina's going to kill him.
The strangler of her friend also just kind of, like, really points the finger at him strangling her mom because that's how she died, right?
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, and then we get a little fight between them on the rooftop.
Kind of stopped dead in this little sequence where she, like, tells her whole backstory on that little rooftop where the bat signal is.
Yeah, it was a little much
like that
exposition. But yeah,
beautiful shot of the city and everything.
Yeah, beautiful
Batman
shot of the city. I don't remember at what point it happens, but I think it's the first time Batman and Gordon are up there. Batman like walks out from behind a girder, and you don't see him. It's amazing. The shadows in this are so good.
Oh yeah, really good shadow stuff in this.
Yeah, works really well. And then Selina runs off, steals the crooked cop, steals his Glock, and she's gonna go rock Falcone with said Glock. So. And then, yeah, she gets off, and then Batman chases after her, and then she gets to the iceberg lounge before them, and she's going to try and kill Falcone, but then Batman turns off the power, and we get the big scene from the trailer where Batman is, like, walking... Yeah, a bunch of dudes in the dark, like, shooting Batman, and he just keeps fighting him off. Super awesome scene, even though I knew it was coming. Just awesome to look at, especially in, like, a pitch-black theater where, like... You know, the flash from the guns kind of illuminates the theater temporarily. Really, really cool scene.
Oh, yeah, the cool factor definitely outweighs any, like, oh, well, how's he walking around while getting shot with machine guns? It's like, nah, whatever.
Don't worry about it. But yeah, we get through all of this stuff, and we end up...
But of course, the power gets put out at the exact moment that Selina's about to shoot Carmine, so of course everything goes wrong. Carmine's like, oh boy, here I go strangling again.
Yeah, literally, about to just murk her, and then Batman shows up.
He's like,
and,
you're making me do this. I didn't want to do this. Like,
my own flesh and blood, my own spaghetti. But yeah, really good scene. Batman shows up and just like one punches him.
Oh, and we should say John Turturro as Carmine Falcone.
Yes, super
Pretty
great.
Good.
Yeah, like
Pretty good.
I have only ever seen him as like funny guys, like in movies.
But he really pulls off this just like cold, like detached, just killer mobster. Definitely less cartoony than any version of him we've seen before, except in maybe like the Gotham TV show.
Yeah, no, it's super, super, super good performance by him. I know him as the one guy from Transformers, and I believe he's in Don't Mess with the Zohan.
Yeah, and then pretty much every Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say he in the face reminds me of like an older Adam Sandler.
Oh, and also the Coen Brothers movies, I guess.
Yeah, he's in a couple of those. But yeah, super, 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 super great job as Carmine Falcone.
Yeah, I felt like every character in this movie was like just kind of like a more like realistic and it's like a more realistic version of like their previous iterations, and everyone was just very well acted. Like this Selina Kyle versus like Catwoman in Batman Returns.
Oh God,
it's obviously very different.
Yeah. But yeah, super great job. And then as Batman is like carting out, first he like gets Selina to not kill him, and he gives her the whole Batman thing of like, well, if you kill him, you basically become him, and blah blah blah. And as they're carting him out, he gets yolked by the Riddler, who shoots him from across the street. Because I think the clue that they had, like the most previous clue, is like bring the rat into the light, essentially, and he gets shot underneath a street lamp.
And Batman is Batman's, so he brought Carmine Falcone, he brought Falcone to the police.
Yep.
Who were all outside and stuff, and there's like a penguin starts like talking trash to Falcone, and he's about to shoot him, but then gun rings out, and then of course it's the Riddler, and
and then we get this like really neat chase where Batman goes in. Well, it's not a chase really, but Batman finds the Riddler's apartment, and
he grapples up through a window and like just crashes through it, and he bangs down a door.
Yeah.
And they check out the Riddler's pad, I think, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And then someone on like the police radios in, and they're like, hey, a lady just saw a guy leave from that apartment building into the diner next door, and the Riddler is in there, and he is having
another cool scene from the trailer with the diner.
Yeah, he's having a
macchiato,
a cappuccino, or something. I'm not a coffee guy. And then I just ordered apple pie or pumpkin pie. And then they bring him in, and it turns out that he's a forensic accountant. And Batman essentially goes to meet with him in Arkham because he's crazy. And he's like, hey, I was an orphan, and nobody gave me any sympathy. But Bruce Wayne got all this sympathy, and his parents did all this stuff, and it wasn't good. And, like, all this stuff was supposed to trickle down to me. Like, I am who that, like, relief fund is for, and I never saw any of it. My life in the orphanage sucked. Like, babies would die because it was so cold, and there were 30 kids to a room.
The whole plot revolves around this, like, renewal fund thing, which was supposed to fix the city and everything, but then all the politicians just use it as their little personal piggy bank and money laundering thing. So, of course, the kids get completely shafted. He describes these horrible conditions. He mentions, like, rats gnawing at his feet.
Oh, yeah.
Which explains why he was using rats to torture some of the other people and kill them and stuff.
Yep.
And the guy playing him, I don't know who the actor is, but he's just really good. He came off as like just totally unhinged.
Paul Dano?
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, super great job. And then we get, again, they kind of pull the rug out from under you because they're like, he keeps mentioning like Bruce Wayne. And then I'm like, okay, so the Riddler does know that Bruce Wayne is Batman. And then he's like, you know, everybody wants you to be unmasked, but I can see the real you. This is like, whoever you are under the mask is your mask. And so it's like, okay, so the Riddler doesn't know that Bruce Wayne is Batman.
Oh, I thought he did know.
No, he did not know.
Oh. Well, anyway, it's very classic Batman that, you know, he sees that the real him is the Batman.
Yes, yeah. And, and he basically tells
but then Batman's like, no, you're a psychopath.
Well, yeah, because, like, then...
Riddler's like, no.
Yeah, because then Riddler's like, yeah, he's like, well, me and you, like, we're partners, like, we both target, like, these corrupt people, and Batman's like, shut up.
That's why he's been leaving him, like, letters the whole movie.
Yeah. And then...
and I guess he was basically kind of inspired by Batman.
Yeah, because the whole thing was he wanted, like, the Riddler wanted to kill Falcone, but he could not get into the club to do it, so he had Batman, air quotes,
he's
like,
the
help
smarts
him.
guy.
Yeah.
You know, he can't do physical things.
Yeah.
So he just manipulated everyone.
Yeah. And then from here, Batman goes back.
And we get, you know, I have bombs loaded on 12 school buses, and they're about to blow up if you don't guess this exact riddle.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much Batman goes back, and he finds out through more sleuthing that the Riddler has car bombs all over Gotham that are going to blow up the... Oh, God, what were they called?
The seawall?
The seawall, yeah. The seawall and flood
Doesn't
Gotham.
The Riddler just, like, tell him?
No.
Like, you didn't figure it out?
Yeah, he basically tells him, like, oh, you didn't figure everything out. And, yeah, he finds out, because he goes online.
Then, they have to go back to his apartment.
Yeah, and he finds, like, the password for the hidden video. And, yeah, he's like, okay, so here's the plan, blah, blah, blah. The bombs go off. Gotham starts flooding. And then they set up... It's so goofy. Gotham Square Garden, obviously play on Madison Square Garden. I just thought that was really funny.
I did not notice that at all.
Oh, yeah, that's Gotham Square Garden. Yeah, that's funny. I mean, it's no Madison Cubed Garden, but, you know, it'll
the mayor's having an election thing going on.
Yeah, because she was...
people there.
Yeah, because she was elected, obviously, assumingly she was running unopposed. And so, like, everyone's there that, like, the Riddler wants to kill.
Real end of days stuff. You just see the whole city is just getting flooded.
Yeah, like, people are, like, running and, like, they're, like, assumingly, like, swept up and killed.
Oh, yeah.
Riddler has a high-ass body count.
And at this point, I'm kind of like, this whole thing just seemed a little disconnected from everything else he'd done before. Like, it seemed like the whole point of his thing was, like, revealing corruption and, you know...
Well, see...
But now he's just going for, like, straight up, like, just mass murder and, like, I guess revenge.
Well, because I think what his kind of thing was that he was going to expose the corruption, get everyone, like, essentially kind of air quotes, like, on his side, and then, like, essentially, like, rebuild Gotham, like, from the flood, a la, like, Noah in the Ark, almost. Kind of. But yeah, it also
like it comes out of nowhere, you know.
I think it also serves to, like, put all the people the rest of the people he wants to kill. It puts them all, like, in one place.
Sure, maybe.
And then his
The final action sequence.
final action sequence. To gloss over, it's awesome. It's great. It's cool. Batman shows up at like the perfect time, crashes in through like the roof, and just starts fighting dudes.
Oh yeah. I got some flashbacks to Batman Forever. Like, his entrance was good. No, your entrance was good. His was better. The difference, showmanship.
Yeah. But yeah, it works really well.
He beats up all the, Riddler's sidekick Boogs, and he gets like shot like a bunch of times, and finally he gets shot in the chest with a shotgun.
Yeah,
and gets blown back. And I'm like,
point blank.
Okay, that had to do something. And
yes,
it did.
Yeah, it like knocks him back on his ass, and then Selena
Selena's
Kyle,
there, and she's
there.
Oh my God, are you okay? And then she starts getting attacked, and Batman's like, "No, can't let people get hurt again." No, and he takes like some adrenaline and just starts boiling.
Oh, he literally, And then Gordon shows up and he's like, "Hey, yo, calm the roid rage down."
Yeah, and then the thug he just beat up, they like take off his mask, and Gordon's like, "Who are you?" And he sits up and he's like, "I am vengeance." And Batman's just like,
"Oh no!" Yeah,
he just has a total just like whoa moment, and he kind of.
Yeah, and then
he kind of realizes something.
Well, he realizes that like, and he goes over it later, and we'll kind of get to it. But like we think everything is like saved, but then like, more obviously the flooding is still happening, and then there's like this big
more shit
like
crashes in,
stuff from like, and then stuff from like the ceiling from like the jumbotron or the lighting rigs or whatever are like swinging down, and obviously if it touches the water, everyone down there's gonna die. So Batman jumps in, takes his bat symbol off his chest. And just like cuts it, and then he falls into the water
like a tool and like a weapon he has and uses.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Yeah,
very cool sequence. He cuts off the electrical cable thing, and then he crashes into the water, and like, oh no! But then he gets up and
lights a flare,
pulls out like a red flare. It just looks super cool.
Oh my god, yeah, it looked great. And then he saves,
like, helps people out of debris, he's doing like the classic Batman thing.
Yeah, and that's one thing I was going to mention earlier. I like. And it's been said before about DC movies, but I like when superheroes save people. Like this is where Batman's whole thing comes into with his ending narration. Like he saves these people, and they kind of start getting out of there.
Oh, and the first person he saves is the little kid who's the son of the mayor.
The son of the mayor.
And then everyone else kind of follows after, including the candidate lady who was shot 5 minutes ago, but now she's okay apparently, and she's doing stuff.
Yeah. It's fine. Like, we talked about this beforehand, but, like, adrenaline... Yeah.
But, yeah, you get a cool shot of Batman, like, leading all these people through the water with, like, a red flare. It's very cool.
Yeah, and then we essentially get, like, the ending... the first ending, which is Riddler and somebody in Arkham Asylum.
Joker.
Basically. Yeah, it's Joker. I'm not psyched about it, but...
It sounded like Tom Holland... Like, I swear it was Tom Holland talking as Joker.
I didn't get that, but yeah.
Definitely
essentially,
not Joaquin Phoenix, though.
Oh, no, definitely not. And then we get...
we get it. I was feeling kind of... Like, I felt like the movie needed something, and then Batman gives this, like, final voiceover monologue, and it just really wraps everything up nicely.
Yeah, because essentially he says... I obviously can't remember everything from it, but he's like... Our scars can either, like, kill us, or they can, like, make us, like, stronger, and I'm done, like... Essentially, he says, like...
He says, like, he has to be something more, like, to help people out. He can't just be, like, a vengeance machine.
Yeah, he's got to be, like, better, essentially.
He's got to be, like, a good guy, and we get a shot of him, like, helping some people get, like, airlifted in the helicopters.
Yeah, he's all, like...
He looks super cool. His face is
like,
all, like,
covered in grime.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Works super, super well, and he's kind of turned from, like, this... He in the beginning calls himself, like, this nocturnal creature, and anytime he's in the daylight as Bruce Wayne, he's, like, squinting, he's like, ugh. And then, like, this is the first time we see him, like, during the day, really, and he's, like... And he's kind of, like...
Yeah, I didn't think about that,
he's
but, yeah.
Accepted the light, if you will.
Yeah. I didn't even realize that, but yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, because the first time, like when after he's in the Batcave, he puts on sunglasses even though he's inside. And then when he gets out of his sick...
I also did not notice that.
Yeah, his sick car for the memorial, he's like squinting and he's like, ugh. But yeah, at this point, at the end, it's very symbolic. He's like accepted the light and he's like helping like this this woman get airlifted to safety, and then we get the final close with Selena is like, "Hey, me and my cats are gonna leave. This town sucks," and Batman's like, "Okay, bye."
Yeah, this was the point in the movie where I was like, okay, let's wrap things up here. The movie's kind of dragging its heels with the ending. I really had to go to the restroom.
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially, Selena's like, hey, do you want to, be my boyfriend? And Batman's like, nah, I'm married to Justice or something.
Yeah.
But basically, they don't become a thing. They don't have the cliche couple moment at the end or whatever. They kind of they literally go their separate ways.
Yeah,
they're both on their motorbikes and they go separate ways.
Yep, and then the last shot we get is Batman riding his motorcycle and cuts to black. Looking broody. But now he's light side broody.
And I ran out of that theater.
Yeah, we stayed through the end because my girlfriend had told me the end credits. She told me at the end there's like a URL that pops up, and if you look it up,
there was nothing.
No, there was but I missed it. The URL like flashed super quick, but essentially it shows you just like some more stuff about the movie. I haven't seen it, probably should. But yeah, overall, like this movie, like we summarized it like as fast as we could, but this movie is amazing. Like if you haven't seen it, go see it.
Yeah, definitely worth watching. Yeah, definitely just one of my just immediately like one of my top favorite just for interpretations of Batman. Yeah, definitely like one of the best live action versions for sure.
Yeah, really.
Even though the movie isn't like perfect, just because of the style and the look and the directing of the movie, everything and the way it all works together, it's just really just ratchets it all the way up. So just for that, it's like a 9 out of 10.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see where they go with it. I believe.
Oh yeah, at the end it did feel very sequel baity, like the city's all flooded. Things are gonna, people are vying for control, and you get like a shot of Penguin like looking out of the city, smoking a cigar, laughing. It's like,
yeah.
And apparently there are going to be sequels.
Yes, there are 2 sequels planned, and then apparently 2 spin-off TV shows in development for HBO Max.
Wow. So. And what's funny is I was going to say that this kind of almost felt like not like the pilot episode of a TV series, but like the first couple episodes of a TV series.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I think it worked super well, does a great job of like setting a dark tone, but not being like grim and hopeless. Really enjoyed it.
Definitely not too far in like any direction, not too like gory or creepy or anything like that. Just kind of like a nice, uneasy, thrillery kind of tone.
Yeah, doesn't go over the top anywhere. Just like essentially like an S+ tier Batman movie.
Sure.
Yeah. But that about does it for me. Unless you have anything to add.
No, yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of going to the theater anymore, but this was a pretty enjoyable experience for me. Yeah, I would say go see it in the theater. Pretty good, but or you could also wait to see it at home or whatever. It's really your choice if you don't like long movies. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Batman movie, good.
Yeah, and that about does it for that. And if you've enjoyed this or any other content we have put out on the Lore Council channel, drop the video a like and subscribe to the channel. We actually just I should have plugged this at the beginning, but we just started up a Discord, actually, so if you are interested, the link to that is in the description of this video and the About section of the channel as well. So until we see you next time, this has been Cade from the Lore Council, signing off.
This is Keith, and thank you to everyone who's been subscribing and leaving comments and stuff. We really appreciate and all that stuff, just really cool, so thank you for all that, and yeah, we'll see y'all later.